Let's build a bridge to tomorrow.
In this Silver Jubilee year of Silver Oaks, we wish to reflect on our own practices and belief systems. It is this endeavor which makes us engage in this intergenerational conversation about our focus on building character through multiple elements like 7 habits, mantras of Mahatma, the learner profile from the IB, cultures, and the CSR called Me and My Country, We Grow Together. Hi, I'm Seetha Murty, the Director Education of Silver Oaks International Schools. I welcome you to this episode of our podcast fondly called Silver Circles, where we are circling around the ethical foundations we built and developed in the last 24 years. For me, 7 Habits book is like my own Bible. Gifted by a dear family friend, I treasure this book. It acts like my friend, philosopher, and guide. When I said intergenerational, I mean a current student, an alumni of the school, a senior faculty member, a very important stakeholder of any school, parent, and a wonderful senior colleague. That's what is an intergenerational conversation today. Let me introduce them. I'll start with my senior colleague, a faculty member for many years, Lakshmi Bhavani. She's an experienced educator and she's seen generations of batches pass out of the school, especially the grade 9, 10, 11, 12. It's a pleasure having you, Bhavani, on this podcast.
Thank you.
And then I have Garima. Garima is a valued parent from our school community with an association of over 13 years. She brings 20 years of corporate experience, having led diverse projects across government, education, and banking and financial services. She currently heads executive education for government and public sector at the Indian School of Business, the ISB, and works closely with public institutions to drive impactful capacity building initiatives. I'm so happy having you, Garima, on this.
Thank you, ma'am. My pleasure.
Alekhya Ashokan, my alumna, who passed out in 2010. She studied at our school for many years, passed out in 2010, holds a BTech in biotechnology and dual master's degree in biomedical genetics and genetic and genomic counseling. She's currently an endoscopy genetic counselor at St. George's Hospital, London, supporting patients with specialized genetic care. What a pleasure, Alekhya, to sit and talk to you about what you're doing in life right now. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much.
And we have our current student, Snigdha Bajpai, who's a grade 11 student now from the Mighty Oaks campus. She's been with us since grade 1 and she grew up in Silver Oaks. With this wonderful panelist, I have to introduce my very dear colleague, Rachna Sharma. She's the head of the Oakwinds campus, which is an IB Continuum campus. She and I have been friends for 25 years, colleagues for 21 years, and the two of us carry Silver Oaks on our shoulders and in our heart, and we just believe that this is our mission. Rachna, thanks for joining us on this.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So in this conversation, I'd like to focus on one of the seven habits, think win-win. Think win-win isn't just about being nice. It's a character-based code for human interaction and collaboration. Especially in Silver Oaks, where we say character before competence, think win-win plays a very large role. It's one of the habits propounded by Dr. Stephen Covey. The 4th habit, which says think win-win, most of us learn to base our self-worth on comparison and competition. We think about succeeding in terms of someone else failing. If I win, they lose, or if they win, I lose. Life becomes a zero-sum game. We start to believe there's only so much to go around. And if they get a big piece, there's less for me. It's not fair. And I'm going to do everything I can to get my share. These paradigms of scarcity need to be changed. I'd like to hear from my wonderful guests to share their perspectives on whether to think win-win or not. To be or not to be, this dilemma has always been there. So let me see who wins the argument in this podcast now. So I'll start with my first question to my student, Snigdha.
Yes, ma'am.
Think win-win is not your way, not my way, a better way. I win, you win, we win. Should we teach you to be calm, self-assured, or agitated and aggressive to be successful?
In my opinion, staying calm, composed, really shows your capabilities, shows that you're self assured, shows that you can win along with others. Someone does not need to lose, someone does not need to stay back for you to succeed. It shows that you can grow along with your community. Winning doesn't necessarily mean an individual win. Our school really teaches that through me and my country, we grow together. It shows us that when I succeed, my country succeeds. And when my country grows, I grow through that. So, yes, I do believe staying calm, composed really does help with think win win. I grow, and so does everyone else.
I'm glad you said that because oftentimes we adults in the school, we get into this dilemma that are we teaching them to be too sagacious, too calm, in a world where agitation and aggression is very important. We do have this dilemma, but your response makes me feel reassured that probably we're doing right.
You are.
Thanks for that, Snigdha. Alekhya, I come to you now. You were in the school choir and your voice is in many songs of the school. Till date, generations after you have been hearing your voice. During your years in school, we had driven the 7 habits extensively, okay? Especially in the senior school. Think Win Win is a little too lofty for teenagers, but we tried instilling these habits in them. Looking back, were those efforts from the school worth it?
I definitely think so. It might have been a lot for us when we were growing up to understand these, but instilling those values in us helped us develop as we grew. One thing that comes off the top of my mind is when I have my clinics. I do get a few patients who are ready to have a genetic test, and then I do have patients who are a bit scared. But my plan there is so that they can make an informed decision about their care. In that moment, the one patient I can clearly think of is there was a Sri Lankan Tamil patient who didn't speak much English, and this is in London. And I don't speak Sri Lankan Tamil, I speak Indian Tamil. And then she was very scared. She did not want to attend the appointment, but it was very beneficial for her to have the test. And I had to make her understand that she needed to have the test. The thing was, I had to create a safe space for her, if that meant I spoke broken Sri Lankan Tamil for her. So in that scenario, she felt comfortable sharing her story with me, coming forward, understanding why the test was important for her, so she could have the test herself to understand why she was having whatever she was having. In that moment, the think win-win fits perfectly because by creating a safe space for her, I allowed her to make an informed decision that was pertinent to her care. At the same time, I was doing my clinical duty as a clinician, ensuring my patient understands what she's signing up for. So these things have definitely played a part. When I reflect on them going forward, there's so many other instances where I can think of, but think win-win is instilled in me. I may not be actively thinking about it, but passively they still exist.
It's such a lovely situation that you shared where you actually practiced it. Do you think what we did in the school did have a role in the way you turned out to be today?
I think so, because those formative years are where we build our core character, is what I think. And instilling these values in us passively just come out when we're behaving, when we're acting, when we're going out in the world and being ourselves. Even though we're actively thinking that we should think like this or not, or passively, it just comes out. And I feel that's just a sign of good character.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Bhavani, can I ask you this question now? Think Win Win in schools, it's about relationships which are more important than being right. Oftentimes in classrooms of teens, especially where you work, debates and clashes between teachers and students, amongst the students, are very common. How do we establish this lofty thought that one need not be wrong for you to be right?
Yeah, actually, by the time they come to senior wing, the foundation was laid in PYP itself, primary years program, the attributes. So being caring and then being principled and open-minded, when they know that first they have to listen to others before they take a decision, automatically they were ingrained. That makes our job easy. Now, when we introduce these habits, 7 habits, especially public victory, think win-win. You need to collaborate the way how you are giving some space for others and you to come and to take a decision. Once we teach them how to consider others, then the job is easy. And for me, if you ask me to give an example, there are many. Last year, the opera. So generally in our school, the opera students, they are eager. Yeah, you were there, right? So when we roll out that plan, they were so eager, and generally they wanted to include some popular songs or these things. But the school wants to engage them in a meaningful way. And when ma'am has assigned each state to each section, and ma'am has given them just the broad outline, the rest of was given to them. The way how they have come up with that script, the anchoring, everything, that was think win-win. We won. We have seen them participating, though they were having some conflicts over the time, they resolved and they put up a brilliant show. Do you agree with that, Snigdha?
Yes, ma'am, I certainly do, because it was the school that put the trust in us. They believed in us that yes, we were capable of doing that. That trust showed us that it put confidence in us that yes, we can do this. We can represent the school in such a manner that it will be proud of us. The performance we wanted to show, ma'am, we wanted to show, yes, ma'am, we can do this and we want to make you proud. Ma'am, did we?
You did. You most certainly did. But I'm glad you brought up this. During the conversations for this particular annual day function with the 10th graders, we asked you, we gave a certain parameter that this is a school code, this is a decorum, this is what within which you need to perform. At your age, you would want to bring some, music which may not be agreeable to the way school believes in. How did you arrive at this think win-win situation? How did you answer yourself that it's okay to sacrifice that?
I believe that I was a member of what's called in our school events committee. So along with other 10th graders and 11th graders in our school, we checked and we were seeing, okay, what songs are there? How is each section, each state being represented? Along the way, we did see one or two songs that were not suitable for an environment like this. Rather than going off on them about, oh no, you cannot do this, no, this is not right. We sat down with them and we told them, okay, this is a formal environment. Over 300 parents will be watching this along with a lot of our school faculty. We want to show an image that represents the school. There was a song that a lot of us didn't agree with. So we told them, instead of this song, how about you put something else? I'll help you myself. And because this was Punjabi songs. I am a great fan. I love Punjabi songs. I love the language. So I was like, I will help you. I will do anything because I want to see us all put on a spectacular show. I don't want my section to be the best or this section to be the best. I want all of us to win. I want all of us to have the most fun we've had and give a great show. And when I put it in that sort of a manner, rather than going off on them about this and that, they understood and they were also happy. Like, okay, they don't want us to fail. They want all of us to succeed. And in that manner, the school trusted the students and the students understood the school.
So we built a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Actually, when she said that, we didn't want one section to do better or my section to do better, that thought has come into them for a very long time now. So now they don't believe, it's the school's opera, the school's annual day that should come out nice. It's not about my section looking good or I looking good. So that thought, once it's come in, then obviously it goes on to that level. And when she starts thinking win-win for everybody. So
it's interesting how we put all of these in songs and we sing them every day, and unknowingly we are acting them.
So true, especially the school song. Yeah. Okay. So Garima, let me ask you this. Win-win is not being nice. It is being fair and firm at the same time. In this competitive world where win is winning over someone, one up over someone, the numbers behind you and those ahead of you determine your win. Whether winning an argument or a match, it is all about beating someone. which I'm not really happy about. Children also grow with the idea that winning means defeating someone. As a parent of two kids from generation Alpha and Z, what is your take on this?
Uh, you're right, ma'am. We've grown up in that environment that winning means we win and somebody else is at a loss. It's always a trade-off. But, bringing up two kids, I realized it need not be a trade-off all the time. It has to be a walk along. Yeah. So, while initially when my elder one stepped into the teenage years and we actually started seeing the conflict at home, that's when we had to sit down and understand, the command and control style of parenting will not work. They do not fit into the groove. They do not want us to fit into the groove. Neither do they want us to force them to fit into the groove. So rather than command and control, we had to move away as parents and grandparents to a, communication, coaching, collaboration kind of, environment at home. And I think the school did help coaching us also, because this term agreements, arriving at agreements, having essential agreements at home, this is something that made me think that yes, there's something, I can't keep saying, in my time I used to do this, in your time you're not doing this. Yeah. So that doesn't work anymore. And, that led to multiple rounds of negotiations and final agreements. One of the negotiations was the great screen time negotiation. I can't clamp them down. They are cybersecurity experts. That entire generation is cybersecurity expert. But what works is when they understand what is good for them, what is not so good for them. Sometimes let them taste, the result of what they have been doing. Take responsibility as adults, because if you do something as an adult, you take responsibility as an adult. So really instilling that in them at home has worked wonderfully. But you also talked about numbers. So numbers is something that we talk day in and day out in office. Yes, so numbers are important, but again, we always, now what I'm seeing in the newer generation, it is not we versus you or anything. They come up with, and we see these beautiful examples the girls have given. They always have been looking at the big picture. And that big picture thinking, the big picture view is what is helping them think win-win. When she had the, interest of the hospital, of the patient, of her own ethics in view. And that's what guided her actions. Similarly for Snigdha, she had the school value system in view. She had the, compassion of peers in her mind that, I don't want to make anybody feel bad, but make them understand what is a better way to do things. So I think the better way with a big picture view is what is helping everybody.
Beautiful. I think, while listening to you, so many thoughts were crossing my mind. First thing is that how challenging it must be for parents who have teenagers or children at home now, in these days where so many controls have to be in place, but controlling system doesn't work. What an emotional, turbulent time you must be having at home. And then when you talked about what you're taking from school and practicing at home, it speaks about the responsibility that we have to assume more and more, and the partnership that parents and school should be continuing with. Thanks, Garima, for bringing so many of these points. Alekhya, I'll come back to you once again. You're in this world, in this competitive world where, you have to do well to reach somewhere, okay? In a scenario like that, did you have challenges where you need to think win-win, you need to be fair, or you had to be unfair? Could you share something like that?
Yeah, I think so. The thing that comes to my mind right now is my marathon. Like, I've never run more than 5 kilometers in my life. And then last year, I did 42.2 kilometers in a marathon.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Thank you. It was hard. It was a lot of hard work. And during my marathon, we reached the half marathon mark, which is 21.1 kilometers. I was absolutely defeated. I had no energy whatsoever. And this was in the mountains in Inverness. So these are the Scottish Highlands. and we were doing it in the middle of a forest. I was absolutely done. I just went and sat down, and then this other person who was just walking, like she was also done. She came, she sat with me, and she's like, look, I don't have any more gels left. And I'm like, okay, but I'm tired. I do have some gels. I can give you my gels. And she's like, okay, if you're tired, I have some paracetamol. You can take some. And we can walk for a bit. So we just hit our personal best times with our marathon. And we did that. And she could have just walked away and she could have gotten her personal best time with her marathon. I could have just left and not helped her, kept my gels and kept going. But I think that situation, we helped each other. And in the end, we shared a very nice hug. I never met her again, never spoke to her again. We finished our marathons. It was beautiful. Had I just gone without helping her, I think that guilt would have stayed with me the rest of that distance. But helping her felt nicer because at the end I had people with me who also felt the same sort of achievement that I did. It was beautiful.
How beautiful. No, it reminds me of what you just shared, reminds me of strong people don't need to defeat others to succeed. Oh, it's so beautiful. Thanks for sharing that, Alekhya. Bhavani, I'll come back to you now, okay? If teachers win and students win, the school always wins. Win-win is a foundation of trust. As a teacher who taught more than 10 batches of grade 10, and as a mother of a young man working in the US, tell me, in the real world, is win-win practical or does someone always end up compromising more?
Yeah, it is very practical actually, as we say, no man is an island, right? On daily basis, we interact with so many people. As you told, ma'am, today's world, success especially, we have that attitude. We should have the attitude of abundance. It is not that if I win, somebody has to lose. There is something for everybody. We have to inculcate that one. Initial years, actually, it is difficult because especially when children, when they have something, immediately they are not ready to share with others. They feel that if I give, I lose it. So it takes time for us, especially for the teachers of this age group, to work relentlessly, tirelessly with them, and to at the end actually the thing where we need to focus more on is reflection. So during our circle time, our reflection time, once we divert their attention to, okay, now what did you do? So what did you gain? Or can you see the overall good that you have, your decisions have made a difference? That thing will help them. Otherwise, many a times students fail to see what is the good thing they have done. Last year in our, during reflection time, my students, actually they were a little bit reluctant to write reflection. After completing their reflection, they were restless. So during first week of October, ma'am, if you remember, you came to our block and you shared your experience of Japanese kids, they clean their classrooms, right? So I challenged them, can we take it up? And they were reluctant, but then finally, let us try. And without me reminding them for 40 days, till the end of November, every day after writing the reflection, they took 20 minutes and they cleaned up. So in one way, I won. That means they were properly engaged. And there were mantras of Mahatma, the school one, we want them to reflect. In that way, they have cleaned their classroom. Our classroom, we have to clean it up. Of course, I took time. They took time. It doesn't happen just like this. So, but when the end of that session, when I asked them, they felt so happy. Ma'am, ours was the only section where we cleaned and IMS were happy. And then Ratna ma'am has appreciated us. That thing they found, had I not invested my time for that long, definitely they would not be having that feeling of, yeah, together we have done. So I feel that along with teachers too.
Adding to that, I have always felt as a school, as an institution, like you were asking her about numbers, we've never told you're first and you're second. We've never done that. Yes. It's always you compete against yourself. You make yourself one shade better than what you were last time. In doing that, we've not brought in numbers, so we've made them understand that you can get better, so can your friend. He doesn't or she doesn't have to become the first ranker or you don't have to become the second ranker to win. It is about each one moving one step ahead in what they have learnt or how they are as people. That from a very beginning, from a very elementary stage, I think makes a lot of difference. Then you have that abundance mindset that I can win and so can they. Because my win is not associated by defeating somebody else. My win is my win. I am working towards making myself better, not by making somebody else bad. And that's where That class doesn't have to be good, bad for you to become good. It's always like I can do better and I can always help others do better. And that's what I think in each thing that we do. So for parents also, I think if a similar thing, which is, since you believe in what the school does, and that's where you're a parent with the school for so long, that's what I think again helps them and start thinking that it doesn't have to be my way or your way. Yes. It can always be our way, which is meant for everybody's benefit.
And I feel like Silver Oaks, I've only been for what, about 3 years or so. I've been to 9 schools in 12 years, I think. 9 different schools, because, you know, military, parents moving around. Silver Oaks was like my docking station in the end. And this is the school that I hold so close to my heart because of the way it made me feel. Everywhere else, it was like kind of a rat race. You know, you have to be first, you need to get these many marks. And when we came to 10th grade, there were no marks. It was just grades at that point, and it was just a whole different system. And I think even from then, people were like, this is your potential, and you can do better. Try doing that, try reaching that. Nobody cared about marks. There was no grading system, no ranking system. Students weren't made to sit based on their marks or anything. And it was great. And, you know, you had like, I think in our year, we also had like a buddy learning system where everybody were put in that big auditorium, all 10th graders, and everybody were taught the same lessons. And we could just go sit with people with other sections, exchange knowledge, and it was beautiful. And it was just like, improve yourself, be better in yourself. Don't compare yourself with others. And that was...
And also help others in getting better. Yeah. That was also... Yeah, I think it's all this that this has been my docking place for the last 21 years. Because it's just not about students. It's also about all of us. Yeah. It's never a rat race for all of us too. Otherwise in jobs and professions also people have that. Yes. We don't have that. We all work towards making ourselves better. Yes. That's what we're working on every day, every year, with every class passing out like yours.
And that's something that is being rubbing off also. It is not that we have to practice day in and day out, yes, definitely, but you know, people around us, because of the interconnectivity, people are observing, learning, and so it's the same thing at home, same thing in office, it's all the same.
Actually, now they can't afford to not to cooperate, ma'am. It is mandatory for them, whether it is online or offline. Obviously, everybody has to have that mindset of think win-win. Otherwise, all of us lose together.
Yeah, so true.
All of us lose together.
All of us lose together. So true. Yes, Snigdha.
I believe, as Bhavani ma'am said, this class started cleaning for maybe 40 days straight. Our class was right beside their class. We used to see them every day. First few days, we were in awe. Oh my God, these guys are cleaning their classrooms. I'm like, aren't they getting tired? How are they doing this? We used to go and watch. We were like, oh my God. By the end of maybe the 39th day, 38th day, we got inspired by them. We were like, okay, we need to try that once. We cleaned our entire classroom. The boys got the brooms, we got the mops. We were in full force. We cleaned out the tables. We were like, okay, it's the last few days before our pre-board start. Let's do this. And the happiness our teacher, our facilitator, and we got after seeing that clean classroom, we were like, yes, this is what satisfaction is. And as Rachna ma'am said, this school really fosters a community life. It's never, our school does not have a ranking system. There's no rank 1 in the whole grade. There's no rank 2. It's always us growing. I talk to my cousins, I talk to my friends. They're always talking about, oh, this time I was placed in the top 10 maybe. No, this guy was, oh my God, he was maybe like the 49. This may start at a good place, but can always lead to a toxic culture where students are pitted against each other. It becomes a rat race. I have been here since first grade. I have no experience of rank system whatsoever. So I can maybe be bad or maybe bad at one subject. I may lack in that. But my friends have helped me so much with that, and so have I done with that, because seeing them succeed, seeing, okay, I can help someone grow. This is such a great part. Like, okay, we are now all succeeding. As ma'am said, we can all win together or we can all lose together. And school really fosters, we all will win together.
You know, all these perspectives from each one of you is making me feel very accomplished, but at the same time, it also makes me feel more responsible that, how do we sustain a beautiful environment like this? How do we carry forward this mission of building character through 7 habits or mantras of Mahatma? But it's so reassuring to hear from Alekhya, who was here only for 3 years, way back 2007, 8, 9, 10. But you say it was your docking station, and it can't be more promising than that for me, that in these 24 years, we did do some good work. Parents.
And your students and parent community is your torchbearer, ma'am. You are you are building the base. We are taking the torch ahead.
How wonderful is it? Like, I still remember the other day, a parent, the child passed out of the school. The parents wanted to come and meet me after an appointment that they've taken with me. You know what they shared? Ma'am, we paid fees for 2 children, but 4 of us learned from the school. Okay, I think it was such a beautiful sharing that they did. So let me sum up this conversation, this Silver Circle intergenerational conversation, okay? On this note, that think win-win means finding solutions where everyone feels respected, valued, and successful. In the long run, Dr. Stephen Covey said, in the long run, if it isn't a win for both of us, we both lose. That's why win-win is the only real alternative in interdependent realities. Thanks to Dr. Covey for giving us these beautiful 7 habits. Thank you very much for being here and sharing such wonderful perspectives. I'm sure those who are listening to us will take away something from it. Thank you.
Let's build a bridge to tomorrow.